I used to be a big proponent of Photoshop and the Adobe Creative Suite. I had a subscription with them for, I don't know, years and years, and I used to DIY everything, every sort of visual, graphic, promotional thing, whatever. But I realized that Photoshop was really beginning to overwhelm me, which was interesting because, it's sort of designed to do the opposite. It's sort of, to streamline your visual creations. But I realized that doing all of that in Photoshop was actually causing me to shut down and not do anything at all and completely overwhelm me to the point that I wouldn't actually get out social media content or thumbnails or anything like that because I just couldn't do it. And that was just destroying my business. But I found a solution that was so simple, it was, it was just kind of silly. Why do us entrepreneurs with ADHD get overwhelmed so easily? Well, according to Inflow, it's 4 reasons. Our executive functioning is impaired. So basically, we were born on hard mode. We procrastinate for the adrenaline because it's so easy, I use that loosely, to work under pressure for us than it is when there's no pressure whatsoever. We also are prone to shutting down just as a defense mechanism, a coping strategy for anxiety. And something I think that is the most detrimental of everything ever is that we have expert level ability to fixate on past failures, which, doesn't ever make things easier for us. So it's no surprise that people with ADHD are prone to just shutting down when they have too many options. But how do you actually know that you are being overwhelmed? For some of us, that's just sort of a feeling that goes throughout the day. How do you actually know that, all right, I am in a point in my workflow right now that I am now self-sabotaging? Well, there's 4 ways that I have noticed. The first is avoidant behavior, which is where you'll just, I'm not gonna make graphics today. I don't feel like it. And that becomes a slippery slope where you just never end up doing it at all. The second is if you've noticed you've begun to do unrelated tasks. I am someone who pivots the trope of break things into smaller tasks to achieve your goal. I believe that's correct, but in a different way. I'm usually someone who says, instead of breaking it down into step A, step B, step C, think about what is it today that is interesting to me about this goal that I can work on. And then it all just becomes a cumulative effect that sort of meets us in the middle for goal achievement and structure. So if you find yourself doing tasks that are unrelated to what you're avoiding, that's probably a sign that you're getting overwhelmed and you're developing some anxiety about it. So your brain has begun to shut down the concept of getting it done as a defense mechanism. If you notice you've been scrolling on your phone more, like doom scrolling on Reddit or Instagram or things like that, instead of doing the work, we're prone to do that anyways. But it could be a sign, if you kind of link it all together, that there's something you should be doing and your brain is like, nope, not today. And all of these lead into a cumulative effect of where you just feel exhausted. Like the thought of sitting down to your computer to work on this thing in your business is just almost a painful emotion, and it feels like it actually hurts to do those things. If you're feeling one of those things or all of them together, congratulations, you are avoiding the task at hand because you're feeling overwhelmed. There are a number of productivity methods out there that can sort of help you break those things down, Pomodoro method and things like that. But let me tell you my simple, inelegant, but effective method. So let me show you the way my solution works for creating graphics. And that is using Canva. I know you're like, well, all right, whatever. But there's a psychology behind this. So Canva has a lot of templates for a variety of graphics, which makes my life 500% easier. There's also the option to, just create things from scratch, but there's still a key element here that helps me reduce overwhelm. And that is it cannot do all the things that Photoshop can do. It can do a lot, but it can't do everything. Consequently, there are forced limitations I have, and that makes things so much easier for me. because I have to work in the confines of Canva. And I've even gone back and forth between having a pro account and not having a pro account, just because if I have even more limitations, it gives me less options, and therefore I have, A through J templates available as opposed to A through Z, as opposed to Photoshop where, you do whatever you want to do. And that's my solution for this. Again, it's inelegant, but it's super effective. And that is my recommendation for you, not Canva specifically, but putting up, I think of bumper rails on bowling lanes, like that. Putting up those bumper rails on your options removes a lot of the urge for perfectionism and black and white thinking of this is great or this is crap. And it seems like for us who like to fixate on failure, it feels like crap and it can be better. This is the one we tend to gravitate towards. Instead, if we have these forced limitations, we're required to be okay with good enough. And that is the best way I have found to grow my business. I can't sit around and do perfectionism because nothing ever gets done. And if I fixate on perfectionism and the way that I can tweak things just a little more, or move this font over here, or like that kind of stuff, the more that I do that, the less chance of success I have for actually completing a project. So forcing myself to work in the confines of good enough gives me, ironically, it gives me freedom. And now nothing is held back because of too many options. I still have options. It still feels like there's some creativity happening, but the forced bumpers of this creative facet of my business gives me the ability to say, okay, I'm going to pick from one of these templates and tweak that and send it off. That's my recommendation for you. Create bumpers in whatever task is overwhelming you that forces you to have limitations of options. We are such a creative, focused people that it becomes very easy for us to get overwhelmed way too quickly. But if you want to dive a little bit deeper and see the method that I use for reaching my goals, check out this video because I go into my full method for ensuring that I achieve the goals that I set for my business every time. I'll see you over there.